16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Hey, Jazz Bear, how are you doing? I have a story for you, the one I promised you about the princess and the fire ants. Remember you said you'd like a story about ants, and so I got one for you. I made it up. Alright, so here we go. Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, there lived a beautiful princess. She lived high upon a hill in a very grand castle that was on the outer edge of a large village. The townspeople all loved their princess from the time they set eyes on her. Her mother and father also loved their daughter dearly and decided, with the help of the queen's mother, to name their daughter Princess Penelope, or Princess P for short. Princess P grew year by year into an intelligent, kind child who was loved by all. Loved by all, that is, except for the bug world. Insects of all kinds feared Princess P, and only the most daring of the insects even tried to sneak off with a morsel or a crumb from the castle kitchen. For fear, Princess P would stomp them flat with her royal shoes. In the bug world, all the bugs, but especially the ants, would speak of her in whispered tones. Psst, 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 psst. Did you hear about that Princess P squashing all the bugs flat? One night, as the ants gathered round for a meal of a crispy cockroach, they quietly spoke about how in the old days they could run about freely through the castle grounds, where the cooks would throw the leftover bread and pastry crumbs in a garbage bin just outside of the kitchen door. They spoke longingly of cinnamon rolls, croissants, donuts, and crumb cakes, of cookies, tarts, pies, and all manner of delicious treats that they used to enjoy. But this was before the princess was born. You see, Princess P was absolutely, positively terrified of crawling insects and would smash them with her shoes. Fly swatters, rocks, and well, you get the picture. She did not like bugs. She was terrified. One year, Princess P was gifted by the townspeople with a super special, not your ordinary magnifying glass. This magnifying glass was so special because it let Princess P see as far and as wide as she wished to see. Not only could Princess P see her village, but she could see every other village in the world. This magnifying glass, Princess P discovered, was also great for frying bugs with the sun, and she took advantage of this on more than one occasion. There was a time when Princess P was on a nature walk and she came across a huge anthill colony of fire ants, and being afraid that they would sting and attack her without mercy, she took out her magnifying glass very quickly and fried them right on the spot. It was a very bad day for the fire ants. This was the only home that they had ever known, and it seems that they would have to journey far, far away from the castle and the princess in order to be saved. For if this giant human princess could wipe them out instantly, they feared that she would come back one day and finish them all off with her shiny, circular sun catcher. They had no other choice but to pack up what they could and hike far away from the danger. One of the littlest fire ants was very sad that she had to leave. Instead of helping to pack, she ran about to every other ant she could find and asked them questions. They were all working hard to get on the move, but she had these questions she needed to ask. She said to her auntie, "Why do we have to move, auntie?" "Why?" Her aunt replied, "Not now, child. Help pack." And auntie handed her a crumb to carry. The little ant quickly placed the crumb with the other pile of crumbs and then scampered away to find someone else to ask questions. After she talked to her cousins, who were all too busy packing to pay her any mind, she decided that she would go and talk to her papa. Her papa told her, "There's much better food where we're going. Much, much better. That's why we're going, Princess Pea." But Princess Pea didn't think that was it. So she asked her uncle. And he said, "Well, don't worry so much. It's just for the best." So she decided that she would ask her grandma. Now the little ant's grandma was used to moving a lot. Why, she had moved half a dozen times in the little ant's life, and she really didn't want to move anymore. So when the little ant asked the grandma why they had to leave, the grandma sat quietly and thought about the reason. Then she looked at the little ant and she said, "I don't know. I have no idea. Why don't we go and ask Princess Penelope?" The little ant thought that was a great idea. So the little ant and her grandma decided to walk to the castle and find the princess. It was quite a walk for those little ants, but they eventually reached the castle. By the looks of all the pastry scraps the cooks were tossing in the bin, dinner must have just finished. Ooh, goody goody. So the grandma and the little ant walked happily to the bin and ate sweet roll crumbs, apple pie crumbs, bread roll crumbs with butter on them until they were satisfied. The grandmother told the little ants all about the old days when all the ants were welcome to eat from the bins, and how things had changed since Princess Penelope had arrived. The grandmother ant had heard such wonderful things about the princess, so it saddened her that the princess would be so unkind and cruel. She thought surely there must be some misunderstanding, and the princess could clear things up. All they had to do was just ask her why, and the little ant agreed. She told her grandma that she had heard the princess was as gentle and kind as she was beautiful. Grandma said that's what she had heard as well, and there must be some misunderstanding. Just then they heard a little girl singing in the most beautiful voice. She sang of love, peace, and happiness for everyone and everything in the village and the world. As the little ants listened, the most beautiful brown-haired little girl came into view. "She must be the princess," the grandmother exclaimed to her granddaughter. So they jumped down from the bin and ran as fast as their little ant legs would carry them. They shouted and shouted, "Princess Penelope! Princess Penelope! Princess Penelope, down here! Princess Penelope! Princess Penelope, down here!" Now we all know that princesses don't hear like normal folks. They have extraordinary hearing that can hear a pin drop from miles away, but they only use this hearing to listen for the important things. Princess Pea heard the little ants call her name and said, "Who is it? Who is it?" And the little ants hid under a blade of grass and said, "We are afraid, so we're hiding. We want to ask you a question." So Princess Pea smiled and said, "Of course, ask me any question you want to. I'm a very kind and gentle princess." But the ants stayed hidden and asked their question. "Princess Penelope, why do you fry the ants with your circular sun catcher?" The princess looked confused for a moment and then realized The question was about her magnifying glass and the damage she had done to the fire ants. The princess didn't realize that anyone had seen her fry the ants. And she hesitated. Then she said in a quiet voice, "I'm so afraid of ants." And tears rolled down her cheeks. Because they bite people. The grandma and the granddaughter ant listened quietly while Princess Penelope talked about how she was not only afraid of ants, but she was afraid of most insects. Grasshoppers, praying mantises, cockroaches, roly-polies even. But especially the ones with stingers and pinchers. The grandmother and the granddaughter ant let Princess Penelope know that they understood why she didn't want to get stung or pinched. Princess Penelope asked them if they were afraid of ants, since she still hadn't seen them. Grandmother and granddaughter ants explained that they liked ants. Ants cleaned up the earth and were hard workers, they explained. And they also let her know that they were generally very friendly unless they felt like they were being attacked. And they only struck back in self-defense of their ant colony to try and protect them. Princess Penelope didn't know that ants cleaned the earth and were generally peaceful. She smiled and felt much more relaxed. The princess wanted to see her new friends so she could recognize them the next time she saw them and asked them to show themselves to her. When they stepped out, the princess looked everywhere and couldn't see her friends. Grandmother and granddaughter ant said, "Here we are, here we are." The princess looked down and exclaimed, "Why, I can't believe my eyes! My wonderful new friends are ants." "Thank you, Princess Penelope," they both replied and did a little curtsy. Then the little granddaughter ant asked the princess the question that had brought her grandmother and her to the castle. "Why do we have to move, Princess? As you can see, we're not all bad. We would love to stay in our home and not move. But we're afraid you'll fry the remainder of our colony, and we don't want that." The princess put her hand over her mouth, and her eyes grew wide, and she said, "Oh dear, I'm so sorry for what I've done. As you know, I did this terrible deed out of fear and not knowing that ants could be such beautiful insects. Now that I know the truth, I will never purposely harm another ant. And your colony can live here for as long as they wish." The ants were so happy that the princess really was as kind as everyone had said she was. So the princess ordered her carriage and went with the little ants back to their home, where she made an announcement that the entire colony could stay in the land as long as they wanted and never fear any harm from her or the villagers ever again. The ants all cheered, and they had a wonderful feast outside by the castle kitchen, where they ate wonderful pastry crumbs and danced into the wee hours of the night. And the princess kept her word. Not one ant was ever harmed from then on, and they all lived happily ever after. The end. I hope you liked that, Jazz Bear. That's been a really fun story for me to write, and I want to write another one, so you're going to have to give me some ideas on another story. I know you had a lot of ideas. You were coming up with them one after another, and I didn't get them all down. But you can tell me, and I'll let you read another story. Okay? I love you so much, Jazz Bear. And I hope you don't have to go to summer school. Oh, that would be kind of a bummer. If I was a kid, I wouldn't want to go to summer school either. No, I wouldn't want to go to summer school. No. But if I had to go, I would just go and do my best. That's right. I love you, Jasper. love you, Jazzberry.